So, you want to cut firewood, do you? Well, so do I, but first we got a few things to consider. I'm doing a series of videos geared towards the beginner and things for them to think about and consider, starting with all the gear, choice of saws, showing the ones that I have, and it all comes down to the size of wood that you want to cut. Now, I have everything from over a 30-inch pine to ginormous maple. Get it better. The ginormous maple to smaller maple to ash logs over there. And I got more wood over this way. Of course, this is going to be different because a lot of people will be cutting out in the woods. I have 4 tree services now I'm signed up with to bring me wood, so I should be set. So all this wood here. This is just from 2 tree jobs. All this wood that's in here. It was 4 dump trailer loads worth of wood. Yeah, I got a lot to cut. But what do you need first? Well, you need a bunch of gear. Not as much as I've got. You know, especially in saw count, should have at least 2 saws. But let's show you the gear that I've got. This is all the gear that I've got, starting with the most basic stuff. Basic Husqvarna chainsaw Chaps. I've had these for quite a few years now, going on their 4th season. I'll talk more about each one of these in detail as we go through the series, possibly in the thumb. Basic safety helmet off of Amazon. You can get some really nice helmets there, like hundreds of dollars. Wedges. Personally, I sharpen with a Dremel tool, and in here I have all the different sized sharpening bits. I need to get some more. I have the flat file for taking the raker or depth gauges down. I have 1 scrunch in here. Measuring sticks. This is a 16-inch. This one is an adjustable perfect stick, generously given to me by OGA Outdoors, so thank you, Ben. Then you have your gas cans. That one's for the splitter. I got the hookaroo, and that's a good place to put it, you know, because it fits in there. Bar oil. I'm so organized in the truck bed. Bunch of debris. I always carry that around with me. I need to shovel it out. I got the Neotech NH843 NCS 5800 Husqvarna Farmertech G372XP. That's got an OEM carb and OEM handle. And the baddest saw that I've got, Husqvarna 572XP. And for rolling logs, I have this bad boy, the steel PV. Comes in handy because of this point on here. You just, unless you're into really heavy gravel or stone, it'll just stick and you don't have to prop it up. Unless you bump into it, it's not going to fall over. That's why I got into like the PV instead of the cant hook or timber jack or whatever else you want to roll with. I got, as you see, especially if I put all the tools in the cab is packed full, especially with saws. So let's get on to the individual types of gear. First up are my basic Husqvarna safety chaps. Because I'm a big boy, you know, I'm sure you probably thought I was skinny, but you know, I have the extension. My local saw shop has the part number on hand for this. I've forgotten where it is. I did a video a long time ago on it. Not specifically on this, but I included it in a video, probably a couple years ago. Now, I'll have to get a hold of the saw shop, see if they still have the part number handy for this. The tag is worn off, so I can't get anything, but yeah. For most chaps are sized for skinny people in that 32 to 36 inch waist. You know, when you're 44 like me, you need it, because if this was a regular set of chaps without the extension, the best I could do was get it right about here. I needed like 2 inches more of strap. And how you can tell if your chaps are worn out is when the Kevlar or ballistic nylon padding starts to clump up and kind of like fall down the pants. That's when you know you need to change them, and they degrade with age and exposure to oil. So the next ones I get are going to have the calf wrap, where you get protection on the back side here. So if you're cutting down here, you have some level of protection there, so you don't cut your calf. And the hard part of these is adjusting them the first time. And once you get them adjusted, you know, you can they're super easy to put on. I don't know why people refuse to wear these things, because they're so easy to put on. And the best time to put them on is when you start up your saw. Why? You have to warm up your saw anyway to go cutting. You know, the time it takes you to work, especially in the summer, you know, you only need to let it warm up for like a minute. By the time you if you don't already have your chaps up, by the time you get them out, strap them on, that saw is usually warmed up enough to give her a few blips of the throttle, check your oiler operation and all that. So, all right, next, the safety helmet. Now this one is just a generic kind of cheapie off of Amazon, but it does the job. I think it was my other one that I had. I'm glad I had it. Because one time when I was cutting on a log pile, I was reaching too far over to my left to try to get a cut without moving the log. So basically I got greedy, and what happened is either that cut or another one where the saw came up like this right into my face. And the chain brake did its job. It activated inertia, or my hand hit it. I don't know what happened so fast. But if I didn't have this helmet on, picture just the chain not even spinning would have gashed my forehead pretty good. So these and the chaps are probably the two most important pieces of safety gear you can have, besides your knowledge of what not to do, because you're going to screw up and you're going to come close to hitting yourself. So I know people that have cut thousands of cords that have already ruined a couple of chaps just because, you know, stuff happens. So even the seasoned pros that have done thousands of cords use the safety gear because they've almost had their leg cut off, you know, or severely gashed. To Chase, I was wondering, what do you need wedges for? Well, when I was cutting this log, I'm glad I had them, because this log was too big and heavy to roll, mainly because some of these knobs were stuck into the ground as the log was slid off the dump trailer. So there's a raised up portion where I stuck it in the top of the cut like this, that kept the logs from pinching the bar at the top. Let's see if I can do this, you know. Okay, now this wedge is held in place. These pieces cannot physically pinch the bar anymore up here, as long as this wedge stays in place. So then when I was able to cut through the bottom, the log kind of shifted a little bit, or when I took the wedge out, it was stuck together because the log was supported. Now I was cutting in the middle of two supports. So what I had to do a second cut, you know, with the wedge. And I think I had to do a third cut because I couldn't roll one of the center chunks out. And then it allowed me to have basically half a log at that point, and I could roll those. And in general, tree felling, Buck and Billy Ray did a video quite a long time ago. Check out his channel, Bucking Billy Ray. He did basically a master class of using wedges for felling. And if you do wedging right, you can change the direction of the tree fall, but you really got to know what you're doing, and that's not a beginner move. So yeah, take lessons from a pro that knows how to drop trees. I am not a pro at that because mostly I just buck logs here in the wood yard, but I can fall pine trees fairly accurately as long as they're mostly symmetrical or easy to read the lean of the tree, the weight. If they're iffy on how the tree is weighted, I'm not very good at it. So on to the next piece of gear. Oh, before I forget, yeah, you want a couple of different types of wedges. There's a type of wedge where we have to deal with traffic like that because I have a busy state highway like 150, 200 feet behind me. There's a specific type of wedge that's stackable. They have ridges on the top and matching grooves on the bottom, so you could take another wedge on top of it. So you could say put two wedges together. Okay, you get one in there all the way, and then you get another wedge and you just kind of slowly tap it in there, and then what happens, you're going to get more of a wedge effect. So you're going to actually be tipping the tree over. A little change here, you go from here to here, is several feet when you get up there of 60-ish feet, you know, 60, 70, 80 feet. Some of these pines around here are easily 70, 80 feet, especially the ones, you know, 120, 150 feet behind the camera. They could be easily 80 feet. Those you're not going to want to wedge. You're pretty much get a harvester to do those because of how compact they are. Anyway, so yeah, there's a master class of wedging done by Buck and Billy Ray, and he is, I think, the best at targeting trees. I mean, the guy says he is going to go in here, and he has like a 2-foot window to drop a 24-inch window to drop a 20-inch tree, and he basically drops it dead center all the time. I mean, that guy's phenomenal. So okay, the next piece of equipment you need is a way to sharpen your saws. It never hurts to have someone teach you how to sharpen, but there are a lot of videos on it. This saw is sharp. And basically you just take the Dremel tool. This bit is sized, you know, the same file size as what these 3/8 changes require. You just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you go on down the line. Hand filing, learn how to hand file first. Everyone should know how to hand file. I can hand file decently, but this is faster for me. Okay, rakers or depth gauges. They're called the same thing. For more practical terms, depth gauges, well, this is a gauge. This is they call it the raker. I don't know why. But you just Set your gauge on here and check. I just check a few random teeth to see if I feel the raker. I don't feel it. So I know this is plenty aggressive, and it'd be cutting softer woods, so a heavy raker depth is not bad. And when you use a flat file, commonly referred to as a bastard file, that's what it's called. They're one-way files. You file, it seems to file the smoothest. This cutter, the long side, is on the opposite, so you're filing. When you file this way to sharpen the cutter, you come from the same side for that raker, or depth tooth, whatever you want to call it. Then when you go this side, the other angles, you got to turn the saw around so you can get at it from this way. That works the best. Grease gun, very easy. You just take it, shoot a couple of spritzes in there, fine. This is very versatile, that if your crankshaft in your chainsaw has a grease hole in the end of it, take your this is easier because it's lighter. Take your clutch cover off, and more often than not, well, not all of them do, especially the cheaper ones, because it costs money. There's a grease hole machine into the end of the crank. We could squirt the grease in there, and that lubes your PTO bearing or clutch bearing or whatever you call it. Now the next tool is the scrunch. This is usually for the small nuts, for Husqvarna and other saws. You know, this is the big one for steel nuts, because steel has bigger nuts. That joke could be taken several ways, but yeah, the steel has bigger bar studs on there, especially in the pro saws, so they need a bigger nut, and that's what this is for. This is also for the spark plug. So this tool does a lot of things. Back to this. You loosen these up, adjust wherever your tensioner adjuster screw is. That's one function. You can pop the cover off. See if I can do this. I haven't run this saw in a long time, so it's good to check to see the condition of the air filter. Ooh, I need to clean that. You can see it's a little dusty. And so that's a spark plug feature. You need a way to accurately cut the wood, especially if you're doing bundle wood. This one is 16 inches, non-adjustable. This perfect stick is adjustable. So we'll see what I have it set for. I just measured it up against a piece of wood. Oh, it's 15 1/4. So, and I want 16-inch wood. So I just loosen up the thumb screw, move it approximately to where I need it. It's 16 1/8. So I gotta back off just a little bit. The length is important, especially if you're buying logs. You want to maximize the money. Right on at 16 inches. So to the outside of this mark is 16 inches. So this is better than when I did that first video on that log you saw earlier that did the wedges portion on. And then another handy tool is a pickaroon or hookaroon. This is more of a pick shape, I believe, and the difference is the term used is the shape of the picker end. So hookaroon is going to have more of a more pronounced curve to it. This is a very handy tool. You can use it to roll rounds, if you know, drag wood to you. You know, if you're working on out at the back of the truck instead of walking around the sides, you know, it may be hard to reach the sides. You can reach all the way in. You know, fairways pull wood to you. You can help it. You can use it to roll small logs, or you can use it to drag, you know, small logs. You know, pick up this firewood splits off the ground instead of bending over. You can use it to pick up rounds off the ground by sticking it just right. And when I get to the smaller wood, it'll be easier to see how this tool is used. And I've used it quite a bit in my videos, so go back on my channel and watch the videos. I don't talk about it a lot, I just use it. And the only problems I've ever had, my first one I had for many years, is that this weld cracked around this head, so it was flopping around, so I just bought another one. This is actually made by Lograte, and Steel just put their branding on it, because why design a new tool when you could just, you know, have one branded for you. Now for the bad boy TV. You can see this log is way too big to roll with this thing. For one, you can't get a good bite in the bark, so you're gonna have to chisel off a piece of bark to get at the wood so you get a good bite. Okay, I got a good bite. Let's see if I can roll this log. I could maybe with two people, but it's got limb knobs stuck into the ground, so I'm going to have to take some weight off somehow by doing what I talked about with the wedging earlier. Yeah, I'm going to have to maybe get this log cut in the middle and dropped like when I talked about it earlier. And yeah, this log is pretty big, and this tool has the strength to roll some massive logs. Yeah, you're looking at what, at least 1.5 inch tube size, and this thing is insanely strong. This is also made by Lograte. You look at the Steel log handling tools compared to Lograte, you'll see the exact same design, and it's made in, these are made in the USA, so that's a good thing. So I hope you learned quite a bit. It's a lot of equipment to toss at you at once, but this is the minimum equipment. Of course, I'll be upgrading when I can afford it. I'll be upgrading my Chaps, especially when these wear out. I'll be getting new ones. Preferably, you want to get new ones before they degrade to the point where you got to replace them. So, and you're talking, could be talking 150, 160 bucks for the best ones. Maybe more, depends on the brand and the protection levels. Now, be upgrading equipment. You'll see that way down the road, maybe later this year. I'll be able to get them, hopefully be in the next couple of months. I'll be able to upgrade the safety Chaps. And there's just so much you need to know. So go back, rewind, watch this video several times to pick up on things you might have missed. And you will be seeing all the techniques discussed with the wedges. And I mentioned how to work the saws. You're going to be seeing all that in the upcoming videos, along with my reasoning why you need to pick a certain size saw for the job. So that'll be in the next video, saw selection. So till next time, folks, take care, get out there, do something, have fun doing it.